Hi everybody, it's Claire. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. You can see I've got a completed page in front of me and it's from Dear Lenahan's The Buns. It's the artist's edition of The Buns. We're going to be looking at how to recreate these beautiful bubbles in this forest scene. So you can see here that we've got some soap sat in some water which is generating all of these beautiful bubbles. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. A few of you have said, please can you show me how to do these bubbles. But before I do, I just want to show you the beautiful cover of this book. As you can see, it's The Buns, it's the artist edition, as I mentioned, it's by Dear Lenahan. And the buns are apparently a 1-inch tall breed of rabbit. Some say they don't exist, others say they're caught glimpses of a fuzzy flash zipping around a corner, rarely spotted because they can run 200 miles per hour. Really, really cute. And I'm just going to, and Dea's actually signed this one for me here, which is particularly nice. So these are Dea's other books. So Colouring Dreams, Penelope's Garden. I've got Penelope's Garden, it's really lovely. Garden Pup, Gorgeous Garland, and Francine and the Super Spy Bunny. So I'm just going to, just till we get back to the bubble page, I'm just going to flick back through so you can see some of the lovely designs. It's having a little bit of a play on the big bunny there. And that's a completed page that I did with Prismacolors and Calero paints. You can see how beautiful the crystals are on that one. And it's Dea does some really beautiful designs, and they're so different because they're different landscapes. So you get lots and lots and lots of different ideas. Toadstools. Any of you like in hydrangeas would probably like a go at that page. And you can hear as I'm flicking through that this is pretty good cardstock. It's nice and thick, as you would expect from an artist's edition, so you want to be able to paint on it as well as colour on it. I've actually finished this design in the standard book, which I'll try and show you in a second. Lots and lots of beautiful bunnies and flowers, and that one's quite a good one because it's a little scene from outer space, so you've got a little UFO in the background. Big bunny, little bunnies, house tree, really cute little owl, strawberries. So you can see that's the recreation of the cover with that one. Okay. So just to give you a few ideas of the designs before we come back to this one. So as I said, we're going to be having a look at the bubbles today. And there's a few things that you need to think about. So bubbles are transparent, so you will see through them what is in the background. And that's really important. If I just bring these into shot, that's really important for the colours I've got out today. You'll see when I show you the book that we're going to do the tutorial in. I've done a little bit of prep work. Because what we're going to do is we're going to use the circles to put a little bit of the background colour in so that you're indicating the colours through the bubble but not actually block colouring it in, so that bubble remains transparent. So that's one thing. You've got to think about background colours and what you see through it. You've also got to remember that bubbles are spherical, so think about it in 3D. They're not just a flat circle on a page, they're a sphere. Therefore they will catch the light. So our white gel pen will help us because you can see all these lovely little highlights that I've made to indicate that that bubble is spherical and catching sunlight. So that's another neat little trick which I'll show you. And then finally, if you have ever looked in any detail when you've been blowing bubbles with the kids or just playing with a bubble machine, the bubbles kind of have an almost shiny, like oily sheen to them. So you kind of get mirrored colours. And the two, excuse me, the two mirrored colours that I've picked out, these are Prismacolors, are Blue Violet Lake and Lavender. Now don't worry about writing any of these down, as usual, I'll put them in the descriptions. But you can see on the top here, if I just point with my lavender pencil, that I've got the two colours just in highlight here, just to kind of indicate that kind of oily sheen you get from the liquid from bubbles. Okay, so I think we go to the tutorial page, and as I say, you can see I've done a little bit of preparation. So this is the this is the standard version of the bun. So there's an artist edition and a standard version. This is the beautiful standard version. And I should probably mention as I go along that Dia, and I was thrilled to bits because it's the first time this has happened, Dia actually used it on my completed page for the cover of the book. This is one of the designs that Dia's done inside the book, but I coloured it in, and she decided to use it on release for this standard version, which is totally thrilling. Thrilled to bits. So let me just, is this the, yes, and this is the one that Dia signed for me, so you can see here, thank you so much Claire, love this cover and everything you colour too. This book looks amazing because of your work. Well, I think it looks amazing because of your work as well, Dia, so there we go. Back to the prep page. I said I'd quickly show you the mushroom house that I'd completed. Look at that, isn't that a beautiful design? Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, bubbles, let's get in, let's get stuck in. So at this point I'm going to zoom you in just a little bit, so that you can see better what I'm working on. Okay, move that down slightly. Right, okay, so you can see I've done a little bit of prep work. So I've put in some of the greens of the tree. If I just quickly reference, actually, again, she says, looking for the artist edition page. Let me just quickly reference. You can see here that I've got the trees in the background in green, so I've just replicated that here. So I've just filled in a little bit of the sky around this bubble. And then again, I interpreted this as a woodland footpath leading to a puddle at the bottom with the saw pin. So what I've done is I've just blended in a little bit of a section of the woodland path here, so that we can look at these two bubbles here. So we'll do 3 bubbles, all of the same technique, but we'll do it 3 times just so that you get the idea, because they're not easy. I'm not going to lie. Most of the things that I show you are pretty easy. This, once you get the technique, once you get the trick, it is. And I think that the way I'm going to show you to do it, the way that I worked out for myself how to do it, will help you not have to practice 450 times like it felt like I did before I got something that I was happy with. So let's just take this big bubble at the top first. Okay, so what I've got is I've just pulled out my 4 greens that I've used on the trees. So dark to light, I've got dark green. These are Prismacolors. I've got Prussian green, I've got apple green, I've got chartreuse, and then I've also got in my hand my blue slate, because I want to incorporate just a little bit of the colours of the sky into this bubble as well. So remember what we said before, this bubble will reflect the colours that sit behind it, but you don't want to be block colouring it all in. Okay. Then what I'm also going to need in my hand for this bubble, as I say, is my two highlights, which are lavender and blue violet lake. I've got my white, which we're going to be using as a blender pencil, and I've got my white jelly roll pen. This is just I think it says it's a queen. I do have some Sakura jelly rolls, but I'm just going to use this one in this instance. This is a 0.8mm nib, according to the pen. Okay, really, really straightforward. Nothing spectacular about it at all. Okay, I'm just going to clean that tip off while I remember. Right, let's get started. So I'm going to take, actually I'm going to have them all in my hand. And I'm going to start with my darkest, which is my dark green. And all I want to do is, in a firm hand, maybe about half the disc of the bubble. I'm just going to draw in an outline like that. Because remember, we're using the colours of the background that you would see through the bubble. Okay? So far, so easy. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently scumble myself in little circles in a light hand. I'm just going to scumble myself in a little blend line. Okay? And as I say, this is just the way that I've found for me that really works. You'll find a lot of other techniques on YouTube and probably in colouring technical books, but this works for me. Then I'm going to go to my next lightest green, which is Prussian green, and I'm going to just in a medium firm hand, scumble over that blend line and slightly more into the circle, okay? Like that. And I'm going to go to my apple green and do the same thing. And don't worry if it's not completely blended, because we're going to be going over it with our white pencil. Remember, we're going to be using the white as a blender. Okay, and then we go to the lightest of the 4 greens, which is my chartreuse. So you can see that we've got reflected in this disc, in this circle, the colours of the trees behind it. And what I'm just going to quickly do now in a very, very light hand is just grab my blue slate, just gently, barely touching for this blue, because we've only got a tiny bit of it here if you look in the background. Okay, so just follow that circle pattern around like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start on the opposite side to what we started on in the darkest green. So I'm going to go to my one of my highlighters, so I'm going to go to lavender, and then I'm going to do the same as I did with the very dark green. I'm just going to draw myself in a medium firm pressure. I'm just going to take the outline round there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to scumble in medium firm, little circles, a little blend line. Okay, and I'm going to go to the last of my pencils that I've got in my hand, my coloured pencils. I've got my Blue Violet Lake, which is my second highlighter, because remember, we're recreating the sheen. We're recreating the wetness, the wet look of the bubble with these 2 highlighters. Okay, just gently. Now, here's the magic bit. So you can see we've left this blank in the middle completely, this inner circle. Okay, white. We're going to use our white as a blender pencil. Firm pressure. I'm just going to go around the edges first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly clean the tip, and then I'm going to start dragging some of this colour just on the tip of my white pencil. Can you see I'm putting a tiny bit of colour in the centre? Because what we want to do is we want to leave the centre virtually colour free, but with a hint of those background colours. Can you see? So you've got the background colours, so you're recreating the image of being able to see through the bubble, but not block colouring it in. So it just looks, it tricks the eye into thinking it's there but not there. I know that doesn't make much sense, but it's really difficult to explain. But hopefully you can already see that that looks like a pretty good bubble, and you're already getting the sense of transparency, but with the bent light colours in the background, because light bends. So this is why we've used this arc shape here. Okay. Now to finish off, I'm just going to take my white highlighter pen, and this can be random. I'm just going to go around the outside and carefully just pick out and make them different sizes. So there's a little one there, medium one. Just pick out the outline, and that will give the impression of the light reflecting off the wetness of the bubble. Okay, then we do a little inside circle, and again this can be just random circles, but following the curve of the circle. Okay, and hopefully just put a few little more in. You can see that that looks like a pretty good bubble. So you can see the colours of the trees and the sky behind it. I'll just quickly go back to reference this one, so you can see even better with the full background in how that works really well. Okay, now we're just going to replicate it for these two bubbles here, just quickly, because it's the same principle, we've just got a different palette. So I need to pick up my 4 footpath colours. Dark to light, they are dark umber, light umber, sandbar, gingeroot, and then again I've got my my white blender pencil, I've got my white jelly roll pen, and I've got my 2 highlighters, which are lavender and blue violet lake. Okay, exactly the same thing. So I think we'll do this one slightly differently. Because the darkest is up here, I'm just going to start on this bubble. So again, remember, we just do the outline, half semicircle, firm hand in the darkest. And remember, this is slightly smaller, so I'm not going to give myself such a wide blend line. This is a smaller circle than this big one. So I'm going to scumble myself in a little light blend line. Okay, light umber, same thing, medium firm, scumble over the edge of that and into the centre slightly. Again, don't worry too much about blending. Sandbar. So again, we're just recreating the colours of the footpath behind the bubble. So you would see some of the colours bending through that bubble in the background. Okay, gingeroot. Okay, lavender. Medium firm pressure, draw myself a little semicircle. Scumble in a blend line. Blue violet lake. Gently with this one, because it will make the blending into the centre with the white easier. You don't want a very harsh line here because you'll find it harder to blend into the centre. So again, we've left a gap in the middle. Just going to clean the tip of my white pencil. Firm pressure, circles, firm pressure, scumbling. Just drag some of that colour lightly in to the centre. Drag those browns into the centre. Okay, clean the tip. Same for the highlights. Done. White gel pen. Carefully follow the outline. Mix up your highlight length, just for a little bit of interest. Do a little inside circle. Hey presto. There we go. Okay. So I think we'll maybe repeat that once more, and then by then I think you'll get it. Just going to move this slightly. Okay, where do we want the highlight on this one? I think we'll put it in this top corner again because the darkest is here on the footpath. I've got my dark umber. Semicircle. And don't worry about going over this bit of the design here. It doesn't matter. Light blend line. Light umber. Medium firm. Sandbar. Gingeroot. First of our highlighters, lavender. So hopefully this has given you an easy technique to try without trying to follow complicated instructions in a book, which I tried and struggled with. And it just, I think because a lot of the tutorials you see for bubbles are on black paper, and it's easier to get a shine with kind of gel pens and just using your white on black paper. But when it comes to white paper, we've really got to be quite clever and think about how you would recreate the transparency and the spherical shape. Just blending, pull some of that colour into the centre. So you can see that now I've blended, you can just about see that design in the background, which is what you want, because clearly you would be able to see through the bubble. Okay, and that's quite a neat little trick with your white pencil. Okay, last thing to do. Carefully follow these round. Random, completely random. Just pick out some highlight lines to indicate that shine of the light. Bit messy that one, did that one a bit quick, but you get the idea. And that's it. So not hugely easy, but hopefully that's given you the tips and tricks as to how I recreated that. As usual, any questions, drop me a line, and I hope you enjoy and have a go. Bye for now, guys.